welcome you all to Quantum Healing Technologies to Activate Spirit, Soul, and Body. And today we have a special speaker, Seneca Schurbon. And let's just go ahead and get started with Seneca. We have questions to ask you, but I want you to share your story with our audience because you do what you do, which you're going to explain. You were doing this at 5 years of age. And to me, that is fascinating that you picked it up again. Do you want to share about that?
Sure. Yeah, I was about 5 or 6. And, you know, all little girls like wildflowers, right? At least I assume so. But I just started intuitively making them, flower essences, that is, and had no idea what that was. I didn't grow up in a really alternative medicine-minded family or anything like that. So I was just doing it on my own, and my quality control was horrendous. But my dad was a photographer, so he had a lot of little film canisters around, and I would bottle them in those and sell them for 75 cents. So
At 5 years of age, you were doing this?
Yep, my first business. At least that I remember.
That you were meant to do for sure then.
I guess so. It took me a long time to realize that wasn't just stupid kids stuff and that I actually had something then and had to come back around to it. But,
So
yeah.
Tell us about your journey. You obviously, it sounds to me like you moved from your journey of flower essences, but you came back around to it. So what was the process that brought you back around to it?
Well, I think it was my husband and my dog who were both going through some things. We adopted a really traumatized dog, and my husband was in a fire with explosions and couldn't get out. So he got a little bit of PTSD from that. And between the two of them, nobody was sleeping. And my stress level was way up there. So I, started experimenting with essences on myself first. And there's not much you can do for a dog. You can't send him to therapy, which my husband was doing therapy at the time and had been to doctors and whatnot. We were doing all the things, but nothing was really working for either one of them. So I, out of desperation, picked the essences back up again and started, really working with a lot more plants than I had been when I was a little kid, which is like daisies and harebells and sweet peas and just the basics.
Okay.
So I was really starting to search and, okay, what's this do? What's this do? What's this do? And I went to my chiropractor because different, vertebrae were not staying in, and I'd, be in for 20 minutes and come back out again. And I knew it was emotional. So he was pretty good on, finding the roots of things and things like that. So I'm like, what is going on so that I can use flower essences to stay? And then he's asking me about those. And he's like, well, you need to make this available to the public. So yeah, he kind of helped, inspired, got me to actually take it out further than just me and my family.
That's incredible. And the thing I like is, that you were exploring the reason why it sounds like that your adjustments weren't holding, but the fact that he said, take it to the public. And now you have quite the business from what I've seen.
Yeah.
I'll quickly share your book here. And that's how I found out about you and contacted you, as Healing in the Hebrew Months. And as I went through your book, the amount of books you've written and processes you have people go through. So tell us about your growth and what you're doing now.
Oh, well, right now I'm in the middle of the Shemitah year, so I'm not doing a lot, which is another book I wrote, Shemitah for Christians. So I'm doing as little as possible with the business, but I'm doing a lot of other things and I'm exploring a lot of things. And one of those is hopefully getting a class together on land healing and how I personally will go into different places and read what's going on in the spirit realm by what plants are growing there. So I want to start teaching that.
Wow. I just got like Holy Spirit goosebumps. That is amazing. By looking at the plants in the environment, that will tell you what's going on.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Well, there are invasive plants and there are native plants, and that's an oversimplification. There's more classes than that, but those seem to be the major things. The native plants are explaining what gifts are in the area and in the land and inherent there. So we want to bring those out. And then invasives are kind of markers of the principalities. They're actually on the ground to fight that and to help us fight that. So whenever you see an invasive flare up in an area, that's a marker of something.
That is incredible. Because I have actually the ministry that I oversee. We would go to the different areas of the land and just kind of listen to what we were hearing spirits say about the land. But yeah, I mean, I've known that if there's certain vegetation, like things aren't growing, that there's an issue there. But the fact that you're taking it deeper with the different flowers and vegetation and such, that is phenomenal. And what a healing process people will be able to do to take back their land,
Right.
and heal it. Wow.
Right. Well, and we're working with people just, on an individual basis locally who are battling weed problems on their property and going, okay, well, you can't be in agreement with this thing. So if you come out of agreement with that, then you might get a little more traction in combating these weeds.
Never thought of looking at it that way. I want to tell everybody what weeds you got grown in your yard. Well, part of it too is my sister has just bought this property that we're on, and there's invasive, I don't know if it's really called bamboo, but we're right along a creek and it was neglected. So it had a lot of overgrowth, and now she's battling that. And I'm like going, now as you're talking, I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to figure this one out.
Right.
That's amazing. So more in your book, you do, I know you mentioned you're not really doing a whole lot of your business right now, but you do have the flower essences for sale, correct?
Oh yeah.
And
Everything is still going. It's just
you keep moving on.
yeah.
That's great. So can you talk about your monthly subscription that you have with the flower essences and such? What's that about for our audience to learn about?
So I can't even remember how many years ago I had this dream, and there was a voice that was saying that every weed has its season in which it's vulnerable, and not to waste time on pulling the wrong weeds in the wrong season. And I didn't really know a whole lot. I mean, it sounded very profound, of course, but I didn't realize that it was about this whole book that I was about to write. And
Amazing.
friends started showing up. One of them gave me a handful of stuff on the Mazarah, which my intercessor had already talked to me about that and said, you're going to be going into this stuff and it's going to look like astrology, but it's not, and blah, blah. And then another one was just sharing on the Hebrew months and the themes associated with the months. And I looked at that and I went, oh, that would be so easy to just take some flower essences every month and, really get that integrated into us. So that was kind of the start of Healing in the Hebrew Months, and the subscription came first and then the book. So basically what we do is every month there are these options. There's a which way you're going to go that God is always asking of us. So like when this airs, it's going to be the month of Av. And Av has always been this big, scary month for everybody. Oh, the 9th of Av. But really, it's about all of the promises that are coming to a head during that month that we have the option of stepping into or not. So we want to make sure that we go and we get all of that God has for us in each one of these months. And that's kind of what the book and the essences are about. So the subscription box, you get an essence, you get the little write-up of the month, and then you get a piece of jewelry, which is the gemstone for the month.
Oh
And
my
I
gosh. So
didn't
the
plan
gem,
the gems, but God said they had to have jewelry. So so it's really fun. Yeah.
oh my gosh. Well, I'm glad to hear that. So the month of Av will be the time that this airs. And what a great time for people to definitely connect with you to get, what's the flower essence that you use in the month of Av?
I make a blend. I know there's sunflower in there because Av means father. And sunflower has this whole component of turning the hearts of the sons to the fathers.
Wow.
Yeah, it, that was a big focus. Um, I would have to actually reread that to figure out what I was doing in Av.
That's understandable because
Yeah,
you're moving on to the next book.
yeah,
Well, that's great because we'll definitely have your website below for people to connect. And I want to order the essence that you have for that month for sure. And then you also mentioned that it's, well, I'm going to pull it out. You mentioned a gem also.
yeah. I think that's
I,
blue chalcedony for Av.
so yeah, so it's, I'm going to read from your book for a minute. Is that okay?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, this is just to me amazing. So it starts in July or August, and so apparently we're coming into August for at the time of this video. Meaning father, blessing of sonship, and the father's promises. That is something we all need to focus on because it's just been a long time. A lot of people have had when God,
Yeah.
father wounds and self-worth. Be bold in going after the promise. Oh my gosh. Guard against listening to bad counsel. Holidays is the 9th of Av. The tribe is Judah. So the gem is blue chalcedony, if I said that right. Dungate and Leo the lion. And I don't understand the deacons, Hydra the serpent, Crater the cup, Corvus the raven. Can you explain a little bit about the deacons so when people are reading the book, they get it?
Yeah, those are the three sub constellations underneath the main one, which is Leo the lion,
Okay.
for the lion of the tribe of Judah. Um, Basically, the Mazzaroth is the story of the gospel written in the stars. So the 12 main ones that go around tell the story, and then all of the 36 other ones, the deacons, those are telling little subparts. So they just add to the details, and
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, it's definitely detailed, and I have a little different take than most people do on those, which I explain all in the front of the book. And
Yeah.
actually, you can read quite a bit of that as a free download on Amazon. You know, the sample look inside or the download to the iPad.
Mhm. That's really cool. Yeah, I would, I personally have the book, but
Yeah,
I would
for other people
definitely
that are
recommend.
going, what in the world?
Well, I think more and more people are hearing about the Mazzaroth. I heard about it years ago through a book called The Gospel in the Stars.
Mhm.
And so there's a lot more light being shed on it. And then seeing yours and seeing all the things that you put together with it. I mean, I was just like, this is like being at home,
Yeah, well, and that's part of it is layering all of the different things and looking at the way that they line up. Like you have the month and whatever's going on that month, which we follow the journey from Passover on through Exodus and the Israelites' passage into freedom, which Av was the month that they were supposed to get into the promised land, but they chickened out. So we want to not do that. Those things repeat every year on a personal level and a corporate level. Like 2020 was so corporate, you couldn't even believe it.
Mm. So I like that, really pursuing the promises, because I know I'm at a crossroads in the ministry, and we've been given a really big vision, and in that, it's like I have had other opportunities and I felt like the Lord was telling me, those are good, but I want you to go for the best. I want you to go for what I've deposited in your heart to do. And the time is now. So what you're saying about the month of August, I haven't heard it put that way before, to be honest with you. Pursuing the promises of God. It's just like we have permission now to pursue his promises. Wow. Love
And
it.
there's actually promises in every one of the months. But Av was a big one, and Nisan is a big one.
So in your subscription, you send a little information to the people for each month and what things to be looking for, pursuing, or promises related?
Right. It's about 2 or 3 pages. Yeah. 2 or 3 pages of the essence and a piece of jewelry. And you get 1 box a month, and it hopefully gets there at the start of the month.
That's a thing. The start of the month is not how we know it.
Right.
So when people are ordering, say, oh, I need it by the 1st of August or the 1st of September, they aren't really.
No, it'll be the 1st of Av or the 1st of Elul.
There's other things you do too.
Uh-huh.
I mean, and that was very impressive. I mean, aside from the books that you've written and the book you're working on now, which I can't wait to get when you have that one written, body coaching, losing weight through positive self-talk. We talked about that before recording. The Lord speaking to me about the body. People need to pay attention and love themselves. Broken to whole, inner healing. Inner healing for the fragmented soul, accessing your spiritual inheritance. I mean, there's so much you're writing about, but you also have the flower power essences that heal. But you also have like online course, correct?
Yeah, we have practitioner training for using the flower essences. So you can actually start with level 1 and have everything that you need to start seeing clients within that one. And then there's level 2 and level 3. So just depends on how far you want to go with it.
Yeah, well, I think that would be an amazing thing for any practitioners.
Yeah, it works really well in tandem with other modalities.
And yeah, I could see how that would. I've used sunflower essences from, more commercial companies that just produce them a lot, but this is really exciting to me. Also, what about somebody that they haven't done any kind of flower essences before, they're not a practitioner, say it's a at-home mom or dad, or somebody that goes, I would like to get involved in working with flower essences. Would the practitioner levels give them that ability to, I don't know, if you certify them to be a flower essence practitioner?
Oh yeah, sure. But they don't even, just to get started, I would say just go on the website and pick up a bouquet blend. Or if you're in the US, we have free samples. So.
Oh my goodness, a free sample. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, well, you pay shipping on it, but
yeah. Well, that's still free, except for the shipping. Yeah, I would
it's
do
an easy
that.
way to get into it. Yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of testimonies have you had from people?
Oh, so many. We have around 2,000 of them on the website.
Seriously?
Yeah. We got a good one this morning in the Healing in the Hebrew Months Facebook group. I'd have to remember what she said, but she had a huge breakthrough. She wasn't doing the subscription for Healing in the Hebrew Months, but she was reading the book and doing a custom combo that I made for her. And I don't know, everything went right along with the month of Sivan for her. Like all of the healing happened just as it said in the book, and the essence opened things up, and you know, her marriage is really drastically changed and all this stuff was, I can't remember the details, but yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's powerful. So when I think of frequencies, I think of, flower essences are frequencies. How are they working in the body? Somebody might go, well, how could that be? How could that woman have a better marriage now? And following what's written in the book. Well, read the book is what I'd say to everybody for sure.
Yeah.
Read the book. But can you explain a little bit about how how it is it working on the body? Is it working on the emotions? Is it working spiritual? All of the above, or
Um, Possibly all of the above, but we know it works on the emotions and it works there first. So it's predominantly for emotional healing, which it's kind of crazy that God would put herbs and things for physical healing and not do something for emotional healing. And well, guess what? He did. So flower essences are just the frequencies of flowers that we imprint onto water and then preserve. So they don't react with medications. You can take them with anything else that you're already doing. So yeah, they're real gentle and real subtle. Well, there's people that would disagree that they're subtle, but my Facebook group was blowing up this morning with people saying things about Eminem hitting them over the head, and which that's our anti-procrastination flower essence.
really? Oh my,
Yeah.
oh,
So
wow.
I love it. I think it works really well, but some people think it's a little much.
So you said anti-procrastination
Yeah.
essence? I think everyone in the world needs that,
Oh, yeah. Well,
myself included. Oh my
I
gosh.
live on it.
Okay,
Whenever I'm not having something else, I'm on that one.
that's amazing. So your Facebook group, do they have to prove that they've ordered the book, or they can
Let
just
anybody in. Yeah. They have to answer a couple of questions, you know, and we make sure they're not hyper religious nuts, but they would not be happy with us in there anyway.
that's true. They wouldn't be happy with this whole conference. Summit I'm doing.
Right.
So it's getting the truth out there that just really needs to happen. And flower essences is part of that truth that God has given you quite the gift for that. And then I'm looking forward to your next book on the land. Um, so you mentioned you did a custom fragrance for essence for somebody. Do you do that? Can people make appointments with you?
Sure. Yep. Most of what we sell, we have a lot of pre-mixed stuff. That's a good place to start, especially if it fits. But if you have something really big going on, probably do need a custom blend. So yeah, you just buy one of those and then we set up a time to talk, or we just talk through email.
That is awesome. Wow. So many good things that you're bringing to the world, to people for healing. I love that. And it's the healing the land too. It's about all of it, the
Yeah.
land, our bodies, our spirits, the whole thing. So I love the technology you're using. Is there anything else you want to share with us about what you're doing?
Well, speaking of technology, I'm about as low tech and old school as it gets. I, my process for making them actually comes out of the creation story in Genesis. So,
wow. Well,
yeah.
when I use the word technology or the quantum healing technologies, our body is the most fabulous technology that God created. And the different the quantum is really meaning measurable. The measurable healing technologies, the frequencies of the body. Like you're getting testimonies of the actual healing that people, maybe we can't use the word heal, but the emotional well-being that people are getting, that's a technology. So when I say technology, as far as for this summit, it's really about healing spirit, soul, and body. And you've got the technology in your flower essences for doing that. So I love it. From Genesis. You keep it simple.
Yep. Simple and let God do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. Look forward to getting you introduced to some other people I know. Because this has to get out to people. It's really
Yeah,
an
it does.
important thing. I am going to also order that procrastination essence.
You will love it. It is the most fabulous thing, if I do say so myself.
So when people say it's too much, is it because they're now getting activated in what they're
Yeah,
needing to do?
the phrase "coked up waitress" came was what one of them said. Well, and then Ignite. Ignite is a little too much for me. Some people like that one better than M&M, but I like M&M. But she said, I can't remember what she said. Oh, she ran around like a meth addict all day, but she didn't steal anything.
So it definitely creates an
Wow.
energy.
Well, for some people, I feel like Ignite to me is just like a little bit of caffeine. But yeah, I like M&M better. 'Cause I
And
don't feel at all wired on it, but I'm getting things done.
what is the M and M? Is that what?
Yeah, it's short for motivation and manifestation.
Oh, I like that. I like that name. I might try them both then.
Yeah, we'll get samples of each one and see which
Awesome.
one you gravitate to better.
Yeah. Wow. That okay. It's kind of probably off course, but you mentioned that like somebody on meth. Have you used any of these with people that have had addiction problems?
Yep, and that's going to be a custom combo. Yeah, and I teach that in my level 2 practitioner training too for, working with people that are addicts and very traumatized people. That's where we
Wonderful.
put, psych disorders in level 2 and things like that. Not that we treat those, but we treat the heart of the person.
Right. Well, what I find fascinating about that is nowadays, I'm a trauma trained practitioner. So nowadays, talking about trauma is more acceptable.
Yeah.
And addiction is a trauma based
Hmm.
problem. And I love that you're doing that. So, practitioner level 2. That's great. So, and anyone can take it. That's what I just really want to emphasize. You don't have to have a doctorate or a master's in something. You can go through your course and start.
Actually, a good prerequisite for that would be my free mini course.
Oh, okay. So you have a free mini course and then it goes into the practitioner 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, if they want to do that, yeah. But I recommend everybody that is interested in flower essences do the free mini course.
Perfect.
It explains kind of the basics of essences and how it started, the whole Genesis connection thing, and how we do it, and how you take them, and what happens if you take too much, and how to scale your dosage up and down, and lots of good information in there.
I would not think that you could overdo it with flower essences, but boy.
Yeah. Well, and nothing really goes wrong. You just have a bad day and you might cry and
Release some emotions. That's okay. Well, I'm going to take the mini course myself, probably before this even airs on the summit. But yeah, a free mini course that will probably explain a lot to people too.
oh, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I have a ton of information on my website. We have the mini course, we have the Freedom Flowers Q&A Facebook group. I mean, I am all about informing people. So.
Yeah. Well, it's much needed. So again, your website is freedom-flowers, correct?
Yep.
And it will be listed below for people to connect immediately. to your site and get involved in the free mini course and start ordering the things that are going to work for everybody. And yeah, it's really about spreading the word. So I love it that you're doing this and want to continue following what you do for the next summit too.
All right. Yeah. I'd love to come back.
Yeah.